A heartbreaking and controversial loss for the Boston Bruins in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. They now face elimination Game 6 Sunday night in St. Louis. The Bruins lose Game 5 here on Thursday night, 2-1 to the St. Louis Blues. And I'm joined by Evan Marinofsky. I'm Mike Petralia. Look, everybody's going to be talking about the Tyler Bozak trip of Noel Acciari that was not called, that led directly to the St. Louis Blues' second goal.
Everyone's going to be talking about it. Everybody already is talking about it. Cassidy opened his press conference talking about it. It's the big thing right now. Obviously, a complete missed call. I mean, that's right in front of the ref. You got to make that call in Game 5 of a Stanley Cup final.
Well, there were many other reasons that the Bruins lost this game here on Thursday night. I'm going to start with the first period when they had pressure and pressure and pressure, 14-4 at one point in shots on goal in terms of the advantage over the Blues, and they couldn't finish all of the rebounds that Jordan Binnington was giving them.
Well, they had 17 shots at the end. They led 17-8 at the end of the first period. And it's like on a rookie goaltender like Binnington, you got to put one of those home. You have to finish your chances. And one thing the Bruins have tough time with, and they did Thursday night in Game 5, was they pass up too many shots from maybe not great areas, but Binnington gives up huge rebounds. So shoot the puck on net, generate those rebounds, and you'll have better scoring chances rather than 17 trying perfect shots, which is never going to work.
This Garden Report on Ice Stanley Cup edition is brought to you by the great folks at betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/win. Use that promo code CLNS50 for a 50% cashback bonus on your first deposit. If the Bruins needed any inspiration in a Stanley Cup final, Zdeno Chara and the crowd, which was sensational at the start of this game, gave it to them. Zdeno Chara playing with that shield, that protective plastic see-through shield to protect against the broken jaw that he suffered in game number 4 in the second period. What did you think of the crowd and the ovation that Zdeno Chara got as one of the toughest players in hockey to play in this one?
Well, it's Fishbowl Chara now because he's wearing a fishbowl out there. But, I mean, the ovation was incredible. Everyone knew it was coming. When we saw it on the starting lineups, when we got our thing in the press box, it was unbelievable. And they even I loved how they gave him like an extra 10 to 15 seconds. Usually the camera pans across to everybody for their intro and then they go to the next person. For him, They went all the way around him. They let him get a huge ovation. It really was incredible. And he even laid a hit in his first shift, like straight off the top. So, no one really knows if his mouth's wired shut, if it's not. But, I mean, he played pretty well for a guy with a broken jaw. Although on the first goal, he isn't completely blameless, but
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that first goal. It was the hero of game number 1 getting the Blues on the board in the second period, about 55 seconds into the second period. And, you've got to know where everybody is, and 2 of the defensemen were behind the net for the Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not fully Chara's fault. It's more McAvoy for leaving the net front open because Chara was initially behind the net. However, they've got to communicate better. Maybe that's because Chara can't talk. I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe that's a real thing. I just thought of that on the spot, but that could be a real thing. You have to be able to communicate to each other and say, guy out front, because Ryan O'Reilly, just like in Game 4, had tons of time in front of the Bruins net. The Bruins have got to clean up their net front coverage if they want to have a chance in Game 6.
All right, speaking of that, the Bruins have to do a better job on the power play. Patrice Bergeron asked after this game number 5 loss to the St. Louis Blues that puts the Bruins 1 game away from elimination. Are you feeling pressure on the power play knowing that the Blues essentially are outplaying you 5-on-5 in this series? And his answer was, we have to be better across the board, period. Whether it's 5-on-5, whether it's on the power play, penalty kill, we have got to start generating some pressure and finishing our checks and creating pressure on the Blues that way.
Yeah, I think right now the Blues have sort of changed up their formations. They're taking away the one-timer completely. What I noticed was the 2 guys on the side. So they play a diamond. Not to get too technical on you folks, but they play a diamond. A guy up top, a guy down low in front of the net. Blues I'm speaking of, and 2 guys on the sides. And the 2 guys on the sides are taking away the one-time option for the Bruins that they so love, whether it be Pastrnak or Marchand on both sides taking the one-timer. They've taken that away, and they are pressuring them so much so that not only can they not one-time it, but you can't even really pass it to them because the Blues are right on them. So I think the Bruins have to find a way to sort of fix that, because the power play has been their strength. That's how they're getting differences over every team they've played thus far in the postseason. So you've got to find a way to fix that by Game 6.
And you could sense that the Bruins were feeling the heat from their own fans, who started to boo them at the end of the third power play because they couldn't control the puck.
They did. They booed them, which I was like, oh my God. But these Bruins fans are restless. They'll boo anything, But if they put Chara out there, I bet they would have got a huge ovation. So who knows?
Chara was out there, speaking of specialty teams. He was out there for the penalty kill for half of each shift. There were only 2 Blues power plays. It'll be interesting to see if the Bruins get a few more power plays on Sunday night after what happened here in game number 5. The controversial no tripping call on Tyler Bozak upending Noel Acciari, leading to the Blues' second goal, and that was the difference in this game. The Blues win it 2-1 over the Boston Bruins and now lead this 2019 Stanley Cup Final 3-2. We'll have you covered, Sierra Goodwill and myself, in St. Louis for game number 6, and we'll have you covered on Twitter at Bruins CLNS and on clnsmedia.com. Inside TD Garden, he's Evan Marinofsky. I'm Mike Petralia, CLNS Media.